What is going on, everybody? Happy Sunday. Good morning. Welcome back to NFL Turf Talk live here on DSM Media. You can follow us on Twitter at DSM_media. Check out the link tree in our bio while you're over on the page. It'll take you to every social media platform we are available on. And if you guys want to be interactive on today's show specifically, head on over to the YouTube channel. Hit that subscribe button, like the video, share it out, whatever you got to do to get all of your DSM Media content daily. And more specifically, it's more important today, Scotty, because for some reason, Twitter doesn't want to go live. So we are only streaming live on our Facebook and YouTube channels. I'm one half of your host here, Dylan Davis. You can find me on Twitter at DylanJD98. To my right, my faithful co-host, Scotty. Check him out at Scotty Drown. Good morning and happy Sunday, brother.
Oh, so it's just giving an error. Okay, I was looking up at Twitter as well. Well, that is certainly annoying. I'll definitely get the link shared out. It's
always something, man. It's always something.
I'll get the link shared out on Twitter. But no, as far as Sunday, man, I'm feeling great. Obviously, I'm a little hungover from yesterday. We were, ultimately we had a celebration last night. The fightins, brother, the fightins, man. It's got me juiced. I know it's got the city juice in it. I would imagine it has to flow into the rest of these teams in the city, including our Birds. They got to be juiced after watching that. That just shows you can't count anybody out, especially Philadelphia sports teams. No. And
don't let some of them show up at the link tonight. You would assume some of them are going to be there, and that place will go berserk. That link tonight does not need extra motivation or extra reason to go nuts. But if they flash Bryce or Rob Thompson or JT or a bunch of them on the screen, my God, I don't know. This is off topic. Did you see them show up to Xfinity Live?
Yes, I did, man. Dude, I did see that.
Just in the upper part of Xfinity Live, just going nuts.
It's
like I don't know if that's ever happened. Like I've never seen a Philadelphia team go across the street to the bar after the game.
No,
it was. I'm watching videos. I'm like, my God, that has to be incredible.
Like, do they just walk over as a squad? You know what I mean?
Right. Like they got security. Like
that's it's crazy. I mean, it's fucking awesome. Right. I mean, what a time to be in Philadelphia right now.
110%, man. But this show is not about the Phillies. It's not about our Eagles, which we'll get to later on tonight here at DSM Media. This is about the rest of the Week 6 slate across the board in the NFL. A lot of tough matchups. That's kind of where my eyes went. That's kind of where my mind went when I'm examining this slate, dude. Not a lot of great matchups. I don't just because they're tough, I don't mean great, but from a picking perspective, from a betting perspective, it's really difficult to find a lot of games that I'm comfortable with today. What's your thoughts on this slate? It's a little ugly. Like you got the Browns in New England, you got Green Bay. Like Green Bay at home against the Jets should be our lock of the week. It's not. At least for me, it's not a lock at all. If anything, I view it more as a better upset to come.
Both of those teams are 3-2. That's the most interesting part for me is that the Jets are actually 3-2 right now, and close. I think they're second in the division because they did get the win over the Dolphins last week. So they're 3-2. I think the Dolphins are 3-2, and then the Bills are, of course, are 4-1. So the Jets are playing for second place right now in the standings. And as you mentioned, the Packers cannot be trusted. That is the kindest way to put it for the Packers now. Is that they are very inconsistent and cannot be trusted, to say the least. Last week, they come out and lose to a Giants team. The Giants team is 4-1. It was in London. Still no excuses for that, man. That's a first-year head coach in New York. You're working with Daniel Jones, who I think we all have admitted at some point over the last year that Daniel Jones is a bottom 5 quarterback in the NFL.
Yep.
Saquon was able to do whatever he wanted against that defense. So, definitely some concerns there today. And I guess my question, can Breece Hall pull a Saquon for the Jets? He's been balling so far for the New York Jets. Can he pull a Saquon type of game off for the New York Jets today to come away with a win? I don't know about that. I'll go ahead and put that out on Front Street. Yeah. I think the Packers should bounce back today, right? I wouldn't put money on it, but I think they should. I think they should bounce back. I just don't know if they cover. How do you feel about that?
I don't like them to cover either, man. Like I'm not touching this game. Like I said, this should be a lock. And no offense, I'm not understanding how this team is a 7.5 point favorite. They shouldn't be a 7 point favorite against anybody in the league right now. And I'm sitting here thinking about the Packers throughout the week, Scotty, and what we're going to talk about with this team. And we talk about their inconsistency, the up and down. Bottom line for me, what it comes down to, they have no identity right now. Because they're not their former selves on offense. Like, yes, you still have Aaron Rodgers who can still play at a high level, but he's not elevating these wide receivers. And none of these really young wide receivers are stepping up outside of, what is it? I can never say his last name. Romeo Doubs.
Dobbs, I think.
There's a U in there. Dobbs with a U. I don't know, but
they're
not stepping up to the plate, and Rodgers isn't elevating them. Meanwhile, you have two workhorses in the backfield with Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon, and you're not really getting them too much involved. They're not taking over a game the way they probably could, and you have all that money invested on the defensive side of the ball. And again, it's just up and down. It's been a roller coaster with them, and they have no identity in Green Bay. And when you're playing in the NFC North against the Minnesota Vikings, who have come out and look good to start the season, it's gonna be tough for Green Bay to gather any momentum week to week. Like, they're still finding ways to win. They're 3-2, I believe, correct? But coming off of a loss, like when you have back-to-back New York teams on your schedule, you would hope that those would be two checks in the win category. And right now you're on the verge of having 2 L's back-to-back weeks. So I agree. I like the Packers to win this one. I do not like the Packers to cover. With that being said, that does not mean I like the Jets to cover. There is nothing I like about this game. Stay the hell away from it.
That's a good way to put it. I'm the same as you, obviously. And just to your point, just regarding the Packers, we thought coming into this season, their calling card, we thought their identity, just as you mentioned, they don't have one. We thought it would be run game and defense, and they're not sticking to that. They haven't been able to get the run game going, and as you said, the defense has just been up and down despite being top 5 talented unit. But
you gave up almost 30 to Daniel Jones.
In London, they're running wildcat offense with Saquon, receiving snaps. Like,
it really is embarrassing. And the fact that you come into, like, we're sitting here, yes, they're heavy favorites. The bottom line is you got the same record as the team across from you. So make no mistake about it. The New York Jets are finding ways to win. And it really pisses me off because they're not a good team. And they have a lot of young pieces. They have some talent. You already mentioned Breece Hall, and you get to Garrett Wilson and some of these other wide receivers. And then obviously you got the young quarterback who I just don't think's it. But it pisses me off. Ever since Robert Saleh opened up his mouth and said he's keeping receipts, they're somehow finding ways to win, which I wish – the hater in me really wishes that went the other way. But with that being said, we both have Green Bay winning this one today. I want to go to the dog pound now. And I want to talk about this Patriots-Browns game. Both teams.
This one's confusing for me.
I already sent you one of my teasers that I put in. Scotty, I'm going for 5 straight. This is the 5th straight week I am betting against the New England Patriots.
I am
0-4. They are 4-0 against me, man. They have covered every spread. They've won a game outright, or 2 games outright against me. It makes no sense. Not today. You and I were texting back and forth about this Browns team last week. And don't get me wrong, they've been an inconsistent team as well. They're 2-3. Neither of us are fans of Jacoby Brissett, but the rest of this team is so complete. It's at home. And if they had a quarterback, which they're potentially getting one around week 11, week 12, even though we haven't seen them in 2 years almost, this team is like basically Super Bowl ready. The New England Patriots are not going to come in here, whether it's Mac Jones or Hoyer or Zappy, it does not matter. They're not going to come in here and beat the Browns. And I just don't think they have an answer for Nick Chubb. Because here's the thing. Belichick can put together these great game plans to slow down and limit wide receivers and to get to quarterbacks and so on and so forth. If the Browns choose to, which they should, and they line up in the eye and they line Brissett up under center and they throw another tight end on the end of the line of scrimmage, and I'm running Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt down their throat, and they will have no answer for it. None whatsoever. So I like the Browns in this one, man. I like them to cover.
Yeah, I mean, I'm leaning Browns in this game. I'll say that. The Patriots have me wary, and it's for the reasons that you stated earlier. They've kind of defeated us this season as a whole. I think we've both
Clearly.
gone at them multiple times. You said 5 weeks straight. I've gone at them at least a couple times myself, and it has not came out well. And they just seem to find ways to hang around and hang in games.
Yeah.
That being said, Browns only have to cover with 3 points, right? It's a 2.5-point spread. They're two very confusing teams for me, as you mentioned, up and down for the Browns, up and down for the Patriots. I've been down on the Patriots all season, but I will say they do run a similar style, it feels like, as far as the second coming of Ramondre Stevenson. I do like him. I have him in fantasy. But I'm with you. I think Browns, they're actually number 4 in total offense right now in the NFL, which is
That's what
crazy.
Jacoby Brissett.
That's with Jacoby Brissett. They obviously have the number 1 running game, but they're still number 4 overall total. That's scoring, rushing, passing, all of it put together. And I think that says something about what the Browns can and are as of right now. And
I agree.
Ultimately, their defense needs to step up, play a little bit better. I think that's where they can really make their mark today. If they can get some stops. Not Daniel Jones, Mac
Jones.
Mac Jones. My God, I'm getting them confused.
Mac.
Two shitty quarterbacks. But no, I'm just kidding. Mac Jones, if he's back or not, I think they still will try to run the ball on the Browns, but I just don't see them beating the Browns in their own game, right? That's what the Browns do. They're going to run the ball down your throat and hold on to the football. They just need to get some stops today, maybe get some turnovers. But I'm with you. I'm leaning Browns. I'm just a little wary, man. That's where the Pats have me.
If it was in Foxborough, I would have a slightly different tone. The fact that it's in Cleveland, I don't think that Mac Jones or this offense is built to travel on the road and take down a good roster. Again, what time we got right now, Scotty? 10-17. By 10-20, I need the trust me, bro parlay.
Yes, sir. Okay? Yes, sir. Let's see.
It. I think there it is. There it is. That's the one.
Okay. Got you.
That's the one. I will get there in about 2 hours. James, my man, what is going on? The beard, Phil, right here, brother. But we'll be back at it today.
Well, I'm chugging this coffee, man. Seriously.
Oh man. Next game. Slated in the 1:00 hour, the San Francisco 49ers taking on Marcus Mariota and the Atlanta Falcons. Now,
I think we're on the same page here.
The Atlanta Falcons are the only team undefeated against the spread this season. They're 5-0 against the spread. That ends today.
Yeah, I agree.
That ends today, and that ends in a big way. 4.5. 4.5. You know why? You know why? Because Vegas knows. Okay, this is nothing about the game. Vegas knows they're the last remaining team against the spread, and people are going to ride that, and people are going to try to take that into week 6 because it's a trend, and they're going to take everybody's money. Don't fall for it. If I have a lock of the week, if I can give, I think I'm 1-1 on my lock, like my lock, Scotty, this year. Not great. We turn that around. We get above 500 record today. It is the San Francisco 49ers giving 4.5 to the Falcons. I believe I saw Kyle Pitts was a big question mark to play as well. Not that even matters, but I don't see any way, shape, or form. They don't have Cordero Patterson. No way can the Falcons move the ball against this Niners defense today. And as long as Jimmy G just plays mediocre football, if he just plays solid football, doesn't turn the ball over, doesn't give the Falcons short fields, none of that, as long as there's no crazy special team stuff, a punt return, a kick return, anything like that, the Niners will take care of business. They showed it last week, right? Like, even though the Panthers are in free fall, would you agree that the Panthers are a better team than the Falcons?
Yeah, I mean, on paper, especially.
And
going against an offense, especially, that I would agree. Yeah,
right. And what did the Niners do on the road last week to them?
Dropped what, 40? Was it 47?
Beat the brakes off of them.
15 or something. 37-15.
Week before that, Monday Night Football beat the brakes off Matt Stafford and the Rams. They got their clunker out of the way 3 weeks ago against the Colts. Against the Broncos. The Colts had a clunker against the Broncos as well. Yeah. I like the Niners today. I like them big. Take the 4.5.
Yeah, I'm with you. 4.5. That's such an easy cover for me. That's an easy decision. I laid it out right, just like you. I know you sent it over to me earlier. I took 49ers by themselves -4.5 because I think I'm all over that. But just looking, kind of carrying on your point as far as what you said there, Niners first in total defense. I mean, this defense, as we know, is ridiculous. And we're talking about Marcus Mariota, right? This defense has, confused Matthew Stafford, confused different levels.
Russell Wilson,
right?
Though he's struggling all year, but still.
So I think they're going to be all over Marcus Mariota today. They're going to shut down the run. They're going to force the Falcons to pass the football, which we know Marcus Mariota is not too efficient or good at that. 12.2 points per game for the 49ers defense as far as what they're giving up. It's ridiculous. And you talk about teams to be scared of. Well, I shouldn't say scared from an Eagles fan's perspective, but very, very challenging matchup, I would say, in the San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah,
it's not a team you want to play around with.
No, because even though they lost Elijah Mitchell and they lack a deep running back room, they still find ways to move the ball on the ground against you. They still have George Kittle and Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk and weapons on the outside for Jimmy
Kittle
G.
hasn't even got going yet.
Not at all. They have a very good offensive line. And like the defense is the story, right, with that team. And it has been, and it will be moving forward. You said 12.2. So you have to figure, even if the Falcons overachieve, if the Falcons can score 17 today,
right,
it should still be well enough for the Niners to cover and to win this game. So I like the 4.5. I think they'll be able to move the ball down the field on them as well. Okay, so we are in agreement so far with the New England game kind of being I'm not so sure what the Browns can do there.
I'm a little shook with the Pats, but I'm with you nonetheless.
Moving on to the AFC South. This is already the second meeting between these two teams very early on in the year. That's weird to me that they're not going to see each other within their division the rest of the way. We have the Jacksonville Jaguars traveling to Indy to take on the Colts. The Colts starting to get their footing maybe a little bit, stringing together 2 straight wins. They're 2-1 now on the season. But I do believe Jonathan Taylor and Nyheim Hines are both out against Jacksonville. Jacksonville's defense has been very sturdy so far this season. James Robinson, Travis Etienne have been able to move the ball. Let me ask you, who is this a bigger game for? Obviously, we would say the Colts, right? Because we have the higher expectation heading into the year that the Colts were supposed to be the division leader and a playoff caliber team. But when you talk about the early confidence Doug Peterson and the culture change Doug Peterson has instilled in Jacksonville, this is a big game for them, man. They already beat Indy once this year. If you can go on the road and take both from them, that's big down the line.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and say that I think it's a bigger game for the Colts, but it is a huge game for the Jags as well. To your point, the Jags, keep that confidence. To keep that confidence, as you mentioned with the Jags, they've dropped 2 in a row now. They lost one to Houston Texans last week, so they need a bounce back win, get back to 500, and ultimately stay in the race, in the chase of this division. The Titans are looking like they're starting to create a little bit of separation. I think are the Titans on bye week this week? They must be, because I didn't see them in my notes here, but nonetheless. I'm looking at the Jags today. They need this game just like the Colts did, but at least they did take game 1 of this year. Like, if you came into the season and said the Jags are going to split with the Colts this year, that would be success on the Jags in my opinion. So from that standpoint, I think the Colts need this a little bit more just because of what you said, our expectations for the Colts. And like you said, gaining some footing, get in the ground underneath them, right? I know Jonathan Taylor's out, but that makes this an even bigger opportunity for a win if you can win without JT. Jags beat the Colts 24-0 in week 2, man. They didn't score a single point against this Jags defense. So I don't know, man. I'm a little torn on this one. It looks like the Colts are favored by 1.5 points. It's at home in Indy. How are you feeling about the spread?
Listen to me right now.
Yeah.
Do not touch it.
Oh, no.
I'm staying so far away from that game. Either way, no. With the injuries, I would lean Jacksonville.
Yeah.
But like you said, beating them already, it's the same thing as Eagles fans. Like, you get the win against the Cowboys tonight, it takes a little bit off of the Christmas Eve game later because it's like,
Yeah.
oh, are they going to walk into Dallas and take both? It's very tough when you're talking about division rivals and both teams are playing decent football at the moment. I 110%. I am not touching this point and a half.
Yeah, I'm with
No,
you.
sir.
I'm with you. This game could get so crazy, so messy. I mean, you talk about a team that couldn't score any points against the Jags in week 2. And the Jags, they ought to be hungry. They ought to want to bounce back. So I'm with you. I'm not touching the game. I am leaning Colts. Just kind of a bounce back, kind of normalize things. But this game could get messy, man. I'm not touching it.
If I had to give a pick, I'm going to go with the Jags.
Jags.
I don't love it.
Colts
But I think
up, man.
I think the Jags right here. I think they'll be able to move the ball down the field on this team, and with no rushing attack, I'm gonna have some faith in the Jags defense to bother Matt Ryan and that Colts passing attack today.
Fair.
So go with the Jags. Do not love it. Yeah, 100%.
That's it. That's
Everybody, do yourself a favor and don't effing touch it. Moving on to another game, I have no idea which side I'm leaning in this one. We have the 4-1 Vikings heading to Miami, take on the 3-2 Miami Dolphins. Tua Tagovailoa clears concussion protocol. Is not playing today. He's slated to be back next week in week 7. But I did not see Teddy Two Gloves on the injury report. So, but I feel like I saw a tweet earlier in the week that they were rocking with the third stringer.
I did hear that. I did hear that Skylar Thompson was starting today, so I don't know if that still remains true. That's a huge question mark
for sure. If it's him, I'm all over the Vikings. Yeah, so the rookie's starting. I'm going to lean Vikings in this one. I do think they are a good team. I don't think that they are a team anybody should be fearful of.
Yeah.
But when you talk about having, Dalvin Cook and Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen and KJ Osborne and all these dudes, too much talent for Kirk Cousins not to be able to move the ball up and down the field. Teron Armstead, questionable. Is Xavier Howard still out? Obviously, Byron Jones is on the pup. Their secondary's
beat up. Yeah, their secondary's tore up. And, it's nothing against the Dolphins right now, right? Like, I don't want it to seem like that. It's simply that Skylar Thompson is starting. Otherwise, I think this would be a pick'em game if, Tua's in there. And we saw what the Dolphins got out, how they got out to a hot start. It's good Tua's coming back next week if they do drop this game, drop the 500. They can certainly bounce back from there, right? They can hang around if they can, just hang around in their division. But I'm all over the Vikings here. I think they're 3-point favorites. It is in Miami, but the defense on Miami, their injuries worry me. The one thing I will say, what's up with removing the ping pong table? I know Tyreek Hill, a bunch of other leaders in the locker room decided to remove this ping pong table, take all of these little fun and games out of the locker room so they can refocus.
Well, here's the thing, though.
Do you put any weight into that?
No, because there was a conflicting report. The ping pong table was removed by the players. Mike McDaniel came out and addressed it and said how he was happy that they did it because so they can put more time into focusing and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Tyreek Hill was asked about removing it, and he said it's because it was nicked up and they're getting a new one. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm pretty sure.
I did not know that.
Yeah. There's another report that came out.
Oh, my God.
So the head coach is hyping it up like, oh, the leaders on this team are stepping up and we have to be laser focused, especially without our QB1 and QB2. And little do they know, nah, bro, it just broke. We just get it. We just need a new one.
Bro, one thing I will say in this game, we have wide receiver 1 in yards, Justin Jefferson, 547, and we have wide receiver 3 in yards, Tyreek Hill with 524. And that really speaks for something. The quarterbacks that Tyreek Hill's played with the last couple of weeks still be up there in the top 3.
Can I ask you a question about this game?
Absolutely.
I know we're both leaning Vikings -3 here, and I'm tempted to lay it right now.
Mm-hmm.
But do I like the over 45.5 a little bit more? With that QB situation, it's so scary in Miami. But with all the playmakers for Miami, I feel like Minnesota scores high 20s at least in this game.
That's tough, man, because part of me, one part of me says, that they looked really rough against the Jets last week with
Yeah.
Skylar Thompson. But that's a QB
He gets
switch
a
in the middle of
week.
a game.
Yeah.
Mike McDaniel's a smart head coach. He knows how to use his offensive weapons, his offensive players. So he could put them in some good spots on offense today. If their defense, could show up, they have a chance. I'm not going to say, the door is closed on the Dolphins here today, but I think Mike McDaniel could put together a game plan. If the Vikings can get into the high 20s, I think the Dolphins could get into the high teens. I think that's a possibility. So, I think I like the spread more, Vikings. I think I like that a little bit more, just because I don't trust Skylar Thompson. Jason says Tyreek Hill's going off today. I would love it. I would love it. He's out the boot. I was worried last week for my fantasy team. You never know, man. You just never freaking know, because Tyreek Hill is a monster. He can make guys better around him. It's going to be interesting. I would maybe send the over and the spread for Vikings, man. Maybe.
Let me ask you this. I'm putting this together live, and we didn't get to this. So let's get into this next game, right? But I'm going Vikings.
Absolutely, me too. I'm cover the spread as well.
Now we have Lamar Jackson and the Ravens heading to play the 4-1 New York Football Giants, playing very good football at the moment, inspiring football. Lamar Jackson feast against NFC teams.
Yeah.
Lamar Jackson is going to feast today. They're 5.5. I'm personally not laying the 5.5. I'm going to parlay their money line in a second. But I don't know if this one's close, Scotty. Like, I know they took Green Bay to the brink and ended up coming back and beating them last week. They're 4-1. I get it. They moved into my top 10 power rankings. I think they get a wake-up call today. Or nice to meet you. I'm Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, there's levels to the NFL, right? There's tiers. and I think that's going to show today. Even if you're saying that, because this top 10, that 10th spot on the power rankings has alternated each and every single week. So it seems like there's a new team in there each week with what they're proving in and out, along with the inconsistency. So what today will show you in this game is that there is levels as far as the top 5 teams in the NFL versus everybody else. And I think the Baltimore Ravens are going to put that on display. My question to Giants fans, Giants team, how are you going to stop Lamar Jackson, Mark Andrews, this offense, what they do? I just don't think there's enough talent on the Giants defense. They have a good defense. They have a solid defense. They have a solid team. They have a good identity as far as running the football and playing sturdy defense. I just don't think they're going to be able to keep up with the Ravens, because the Ravens are going to score points, right? Like, that's going to happen. The Ravens had a dud last week, so they're due for even more of an explosion after last week against the Bengals.
And the week before that, they lost.
Exactly. Week before that, they lose to the Bills. So they're wanting, they're needing an explosion. They can put the world on notice, taking down a 4-1 Giants team that just beat the Packers last weekend. I just don't think Daniel Jones in this offense can score enough points to even keep this close. I'm taking Baltimore, and I'm taking the 5.5 point spread as well. But yeah, I would smash the money line. Too much firepower.
Let me ask you about this one. Now, I know that my second leg is the iffy one, right? But Niners -4. It dropped. It took the hook off. Niners -4. Browns -3. Vikings money line. Ravens money line +721.
+7. Oh, that's nice, man. That is nice. I might join you on that one.
You know what's killing me is they dropped the Niners to 4.
Yeah.
So they took the hook out. And I went in to check if I could cash out and replace the 4 without the 4.5. But they dropped my cash out. No, they're letting me cash out, but they took $10 off.
Wow.
So I'd lose $10. It's not. I'll leave the hook.
I mean, they're going to cover, man. I have no. I shouldn't say that. Knock on wood. I have no worries for the 49ers today. I just don't think. I don't think the Falcons are going to be able to score, man. I really don't see it. But I like that. +721. Yeah, I actually love that. I may lay that down with you. What do we got next on the slate?
Just send it. Next, we have the Cincinnati Bengals and the New Orleans Saints. Excuse me. I keep checking my nose to see if it's bleeding, because that almost happened at the end of the other night's Tough Talk show. So hoping that doesn't come up again.
Terry, check him out.
Terry, there you go. We're laying your Niners today, Terry. We got
Yep,
you.
man.
Another weird game for me, man. I have no feel on this one. The Bengals come in. I moved them into my top 10 heading into last week. The offense lays a dud. I know it's a tough Sunday night football matchup on the road against the Ravens. Lay a dud. Don't score a ton of points. Get held under 20. Lose that game. Meanwhile, the Saints are barely squeaking by the Seattle Seahawks at home.
Mm-hmm.
But Kamara is starting to get going. Obviously, they keep utilizing Taysom Hill, which is really pissing me off as an Alvin Kamara fantasy owner.
It's got these leading rusher on their team.
I think I'm going to go Bengals here. I don't know about you. Let's get those comments out of there. Yeah. So yeah, Saints rolling with Andy Dalton. I think the Bengals defense is the underrated part of that team.
Yeah.
And it was awesome, man. It was awesome, Jason.
In this game, honestly, Dylan, I am riding with the Bengals. I'm kind of riding the Bengals hand today. I do have them in a parlay. I'll let you know of later, of course. But I am riding with the Bengals today. I think there's a little bit too much as far as what the Bengals should be able to do, what they're due for. I know we've been saying it for weeks, and it almost feels redundant at this point to say the Bengals are due for an offensive explosion. But I mean, my God, Jamar Chase is just like waiting for an opportunity. He's got a prime matchup today against Marcus Lattimore or is it Marcus Lattimore or is it
Marshawn Lattimore?
Marshawn Lattimore, excuse me. So that's a great matchup. Talking about on the outside between Chase and Lattimore. I'm interested to see how that goes. Obviously, every time Evans and Lattimore get together, they get in a fight. So interested to see if Chase has that tenacity with him. But nonetheless, I am going to roll with the Bengals here. I think they're just a little bit healthier. Their offense is a little bit more consistent, a little bit more safe. And their defense, I would say right now, is probably just as good as New Orleans. So I think, aside from Taysom Hill doing some really weird stuff today in the Superdome, I think Joe Burrow makes his return to the Superdome from his LSU days. Him and Chase get it going today. Maybe get Chase in the end zone. I have him for an anytime touchdown today. I'm rolling with the Bengals in this one, but I don't want it to get it twisted. The Saints very much have an opportunity to win this game. The Bengals have not been consistent at all. They're 2-3 for a reason. And with that being said, anything can happen down there in the Superdome.
Yeah, man. This is again. It's the first thing I said entering today's show was there's not a lot of games. It doesn't mean there's a lot of good games or entertaining games, but there's a lot of tough games on this slate, and I really haven't been comfortable outside of maybe two of the games so far in my picks.
T. Higgins.
Hey, man, I might have to. Oh no, you're good. I might have to do that.
I think is questionable.
I hope so. I mean, I hope he plays because I'm very limited on my bench right now with bye weeks. And I really don't want to have to drop anybody at this point.
I got T. Higgins in Dynasty myself. I have Boyd as kind of a safety net there if he is out,
but all right. Last game in the 1:00 hour. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers head on over to Pittsburgh to take on Kenny Pickett and the Steelers. As we're going, I'm starting to lose my voice from the continuous weekend here. What do you like in this one, man? I know this is a 10-point spread, I believe, or maybe it dipped a little bit. I love the Bucs to win the game. They should cover 9.5, but I don't know if they will. Their offense has been too inconsistent. Right here,
absolutely,
brother. Right here. But we push forward. We push forward for some football.
Yeah, man. This one, it's rough for Kenny Pickett, right? Going against the Bills first, in his first career start, and now the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Talking about two of the top 5 defenses in the NFL, right? It's a rough start for the Steelers. Just a couple things I'm keeping my eye on. Can Najee Harris get going? Can they show any signs of life on offense at all, right? Because not only is Kenny Pickett a rookie quarterback starting for only the second time against the top 5 defense, receivers have been dropping passes. Najee Harris has not gotten involved in the running game. They just have nothing going in Pittsburgh right now. And I'm honestly worried for Kenny Pickett, man. I just more and more as we get through after you see a 38-3 loss to the Bills, and then if you come out and get blown out today, which I'm honestly feeling a Bucks cover. I know they didn't cover last week. I think that's more reason for them to cover this week. And I also am looking at the Steelers. They're down their top 3 quarterbacks plus Minkah Fitzpatrick. TJ Watt's not there. I mean, their defense is depleted as well. You saw what the Bills did to them last week. I'm going with the Bucks, and I think Tom Brady's going to be able to open it up on them today. I think Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, all those guys get involved. How about Julio Jones just staying on the injury report, man? This dude, we thought he was back week 1. He had the game of his life against the Cowboys, and he's still on the injury report. But nonetheless, I am going with the Bucks in this game. I think they cover.
Julio, he's just one of those guys at this point of his career, man, where it's just like Jason Peters is already on the injury report, was already on the injury report for Dallas. It's one of those things where it's like, shocker. Here we go again. I've seen this movie before.
Exactly.
I agree with you. I think this is even though the Bucks are 3-2 on the year, this is a get right kind of game for them.
Absolutely.
If that makes sense.
I like that.
Because the offense has not been flowing like we would assume. Like, yes, Julio's on the injury report. Mike Evans missed 1 game. Chris Godwin missed one game, maybe 2.
1 or 2.
But they're both back now. Lenny's been fine. And your defense outside of the Chiefs game has been one of the best defenses in football, top 3 unit. So this is a perfect should dominate, should cover to get right. I just fear that Pittsburgh somehow turns Tom over today, and the Bucks win, but they win by like 6 or 7. So it's a win. It's a good win.
It is a wide spread,
comfortable as it should be. Yeah, I agree.
That would be pretty demoralizing. You talk about a Pittsburgh franchise or organization that is just simply not used to losing. You come out and just get demolished 2 weeks in a row. That would be really demoralizing. You're definitely. I will say, while I do think the Steelers may give out one of their best shots this season today against the Bucks, just don't know if that's even going to be enough to cover the spread. Honestly, they have just been that bad, but we will certainly see. Jason Peters starting today.
JP's back, but he was already on the injury report last week or 2 weeks ago.
Looking forward to that.
As an Eagles fan, man, it's funny to watch. But all right, into the 4:00 hour we go. Final 3 games. Because as you guys know, we will not be breaking down the Eagles Cowboys matchup. We will be doing that on DSM pregame live tonight here on DSM Media. We have the LA Rams at home taking on the Matt Rule-less and Baker Mayfield-less Carolina Panthers. I just mentioned with the Bucks, get right game. This needs to be a get-right game with the Rams. This needs to be an explosive blowout. Lay the points. I think it's only like a 4 or 5 point spread. I could be off. I haven't seen it.
No, it was 10 points when I looked at it.
10?
Yeah, 10-point spread. At least on ESPN.
Really? I misread it then.
And I don't know if maybe it's
9.5. 9.5. You're right. I must have been looking at something else.
Cooper Kupp was questionable, so I don't know if maybe that might have changed.
Maybe I could have misread it and was looking at another game.
JC Horn's out, so they got some secondary issues in Carolina,
right? And they're not and Sam Darnold's not healthy yet either, so they're going with PJ Walker, I believe. I think that's the QB1's name now for Carolina.
PJ Walker,
yeah. As a CMC fantasy owner in 2 leagues, I'm hoping that they feed him the ball today. But you never know. We'll see what the changing of the guard at play caller and head coach does for Carolina. Normally it gives a team some energy, some life, a resurgence. Not when you lose QB1 and don't have QB2 still. And you go on the road against the defending Super Bowl champions. This has to be a game where the Rams make a statement. This should be the team that covers the 10-point spread.
Yeah.
That's all I'll say. And if they don't, there is problems in Los Angeles, Scotty.
Absolutely. I'm with you. I think the Rams covered today. They are, once again, as you mentioned, they need a bounce back game. I do think it'd be in the Panthers' best interest to get CMC involved heavily, try to get him going, make him a little bit happier. But, ultimately, I just don't see it. PJ Walker. I mean, come on, this is the perfect opportunity
On the road,
for the Rams
bro.
to
On
get
the
it.
road,
To get
yeah.
it
Like
going.
Aaron Donald,
Akers is held out
Feast,
due to
Jalen
personal
Ramsey.
reasons.
Yeah, it's weird. It could be a family matter. We don't know, but it's definitely like it was last second. So we'll see if he does end up getting moved. They definitely haven't utilized him correctly, so I can tell you that much. But moving on, Arizona heads to Seattle, NFC West battle here. Geno Smith somehow continues to play good football, somehow continues to have this team fighting week in and week out. They were a play away from being 3-2. Instead, they're 2-3. Kyler Murray comes into town coming off a loss against the Eagles. What's your mindset? What's your thought process heading into this one? Because this is a game. I've had a couple of these today. Stay the hell away from it. Seattle's too unpredictable. Normally, I would want to lay the Cardinals. I don't know what to expect week by week out of the Seahawks.
I know, man. This one's tough. I like the Cardinals a little bit more. I do.
Oh, I do too, but
they're so hard to read, man. They played the Eagles really tough last week. Their defense looked really solid last week. They get after the quarterback. That does tend to, make me lean even more in favor of the Cardinals. And look, they get DeAndre Hopkins. He should be back next week, I believe. That would be the 6-game mark at the end of his suspension. That was it, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of a breath of fresh air. Like, let's get through today. Let's knock down the Seahawks, our division rivals, and if we can get to DeAndre Hopkins coming back at 500, that's another source of motivation here today. And I just honestly, I think the Seahawks got to come back to earth a bit. Like, I know they're only 2-3, but Geno Smith has been playing like really, really good football. And I just think this team needs to come back to earth a little bit and start looking like the team that we expected them to be after they trade away their franchise quarterback. I think it has to fall off eventually. And today would be a good start. The Cards, covering that 2.5-point spread in Seattle, I should say. But yeah, I think that as far as the Cardinals, they've been a very confusing team so far, but the light at the end of the tunnel, you could say in a sense. James Conner get healthy, DeAndre Hopkins come back, that offense looks completely different. They are beat up though in that running back room, and that could be a cause for concern there.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, man. Again, this I keep saying get right game, but if you're a Cardinals fan, you're pointing this one out on the schedule as like, fellas, we were division winners last year.
Yeah.
Playoff team that got bounced in embarrassing fashion. We thought more highly of Kyler than what we've seen so far, but they did play the undefeated Eagles tough last week.
Yeah.
I know Geno's playing well. I know it's in Seattle. They should win this game, but it's right here. They're reminding me of Green Bay with the inconsistency, the lack of identity. They don't know what they want to do offensively. One week, Kyler is a statue in the pocket and not moving and extending plays. The next, they're drawing up QB runs from that are picking up 20 yards. James Conner's healthy. He's injured. He's healthy. He's injured.
Yeah.
He's going to miss some time. They can't run the football.
That's fair.
The defense looks great. The defense looks bad. No identity. No clue what they want to do offensively. And that's never a recipe for success, dude. All right. Absolutely. Let's move on to the final game of the slate. And this is, my God, this is
game of the
outside
year.
of us as Eagles fans getting ready for Sunday Night Football. This is the game of the week. And I'm glad that there's no Phillies on during that time. I'm glad that the Eagles aren't playing during that time. So I can sit back and watch this AFC divisional round.
Red zone for that one. We're watching that game straight through. I might have red zone on the other TV though.
Yeah. This rematch from the AFC divisional matchup, the greatest game I've ever witnessed with my own two eyes last year. Potential AFC championship matchup with these two, Josh Allen, Pat Mahomes, Arrowhead Stadium. What do you got?
I want to ask you, is this an offensive explosion? Is this going to fulfill what we want? Like, do you think there's any way we could be let down by the offensive?
Yeah, for sure. Because games, when you get this idea, this picture in your mind, and obviously it's not just a made up imagination picture. It's we saw it firsthand in the playoffs last year. Sometimes when you get these expectations for the offenses, it's not a dud. It's just that the defenses are better than you thought. The game doesn't play out that way. So it definitely could be like a 24-21, 24-23 type of game. I don't know, but I'm going to say no. These quarterbacks, these offenses are too talented.
Yeah.
The Bills' back end of their defense is banged up. The Chiefs defense has played well throughout the season so far, but they showed some holes against Derek Carr and Devontae Adams last week, giving up almost 30 points in that one to the Raiders. So I expect both quarterbacks to have a field day. This game's humongous, and it has everything to do with the Buffalo Bills and Josh Allen. This is, I know it's regular season. It doesn't mean all that much, but this is the stage one of the dethroning process for all these people that are Bills are the best team in the AFC. Bills are the best team in the NFL. Josh Allen's QB1, blah, blah, blah. Because I haven't seen it. There's been no drop-off from Mahomes and this Chiefs team from last year. And the last time we saw these two play, Josh Allen played the greatest quarterbacking game ever of his life. And he was still outdueled. They still lost the game because the other guy had an answer every single time. This game has everything to do with the Bills, nothing to do with the Chiefs. If the Chiefs win, we're still here, right?
Can I ask you?
It's stage one of the Bills to get this thing going.
If you're the Bills, how would you approach this game? Like, do you just come out and try to, just hit them in the jugular? Like look at what the Raiders did last week. Devontae Adams only had 3 catches.
There's no script, Scotty.
There's
there's no secret formula to beating this Chiefs team.
Yeah.
There's no recipe. There's no getting up 17 or getting up 20 and having things locked in because they can come back in the blink of an eye. Exactly. You need your offense to be on point all 4 quarters, all 60 minutes today, because if they're not, if there's a slip up for a quarter and a half, that team will find a way to make you pay for it. I'm going to come out and say it. I like the Chiefs. I think that the Bills are too beat up in the back end of that secondary. Too many playmakers missing for them. I think Mahomes, he's just that guy, right, dude? Like he hears it. He knows the comparisons and people already saying Allen is better than him and the Bills are a better team. And it's from what proof? There's no fact or evidence about behind that statement. I think he comes out today. He shows up. He has a lot of energy. I think Travis Kelce has a big day again today. I know he scored 4 touchdowns last week on Monday Night Football, but he only had 25 yards, right? So he wasn't really a threat outside of the 5-yard line. I think he shows up and has a big day. Here's a name for you. Juju Smith-Schuster gets in the end zone today.
Interesting. You liking Juju?
Yeah.
I can't put any stock in Juju just yet.
I'm not betting it.
He's due for it. He's due.
I'm not betting it. I'm just gonna throw it out there. Right? I'm just gonna throw it out to the world.
Who do you feel like on the Bills side? Gabe Davis, Stephon Diggs, or both? What do you think there? Like as far
I think definitely both can, but I'm going Diggs first. Obviously, Davis had the big game last week against the Steelers. I just think Diggs has the knack for these big games. Right? You show up in a big way. Matchup. I definitely can see him going 90, 95 plus. A touchdown or 2 today.
I took an anytime touchdown from Diggs. It was boosted. It was between him and Kelce. So, I mean, pick your poison. But I did go with Diggs. Ultimately, I come into this game. I'm looking at it. Mahomes, first time ever at home as an underdog in his career.
It's crazy.
And, obviously, Kansas City at home, that is tough to win on the road. And you mentioned it. This is going to be the milestone of a lifetime for the Bills if they can pull this out. I ultimately looked in why the hell are the Bills, favored it in Kansas City? It's because the team around these quarterbacks, the Bills just have a better roster. It's as simple as that for me. You look at the Bills offense, number 1 overall, Bills defense, number 2 overall, and Kansas City, number 6 overall offense, number 14 overall defense. You could throw that out the window to an extent. But when it comes down to who's going to be able to get stops, I just think the Bills are more built for that. I do think I'm going to go with the Bills in this game. The reason they're favored is because they're better. And I think it's as simple as that. Now, with that being said, any given Sunday with Patrick Mahomes, that's one thing that is always going to be on the table. The Kansas City Chiefs could very well win this. I'm not putting my money on the Bills outright. I'm not doing anything like that.
Yeah, no, I'm enjoying this one, and I'll probably put together a fun same-game parlay thing. I ain't sweating the outcome. I ain't sweating the winner in this one.
I just want it to be fun. And ultimately, if I was a Bills fan, this would mean the world. But luckily, I'm on the outside of this. I can just enjoy. And whoever wins, and we can talk about it from there. But I do have a parlay on this game.
Chiefs fans were down there at 8:30 last night.
I know, last night, man. It's gonna be juiced. It's gonna be wild, bro. I'm borderline rooting for the Kansas City Chiefs in a sense, just to kind of shut the hype up, with the Bills, kind of, re-enter.
He's rolling with the tight end, with the third string, 7th round quarterback getting him the ball. I mean, It would happen, right? It would happen today, right? I will say, I gotta text me because I got a feeling you didn't come up with that on your own. So let me know.
Let me know as well. Pass that on. Let me know. Yeah. Let me know what's going on there. I do have a parlay for this game.
What do you got?
This one comes out to plus 237. Like I said, I'm not laying anything on the Bills outright. I do have the Bills plus 6.5. So stay within a touchdown of the Chiefs. It's 25% boosted, so it goes up to plus 237. Also, Allen 249.5 plus, Mahomes 249.5 plus. I think, like we said, they're going to go at it. And then I have Diggs 74.5 plus. So that comes out to plus 237. And then I do have the Diggs anytime TD, which is plus 130 with the 50% boost.
I like it, babe. Sorry,
you could go Kelsey or Diggs on that one, though.
I agree. I'm looking up Gesicki TD odds.
Yeah, while you do that, I can.
He's plus 380 to just get in once.
Just get in once. I mean,
yeah,
it's not out of this realm.
Hold on. What is he for 2?
Young rookie quarterback, tight ends. I mean, that is
no. Plus 3,000 for 2. That's hilarious. I'll let you know if we decide to send it, my man. But I have not placed any same game parlay for the 4:00 game. I like to try to see what
you're working with before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So see how these 1:00 games start to play out.
They lay down some
and 100%, brother. And actually, we didn't even talking birds on this show this morning because we're getting into the birds on DSM pregame live here on DSM Media tonight at 7 p.m. Scotty, before we wrap up,
yes, sir.
Any other plays you got thrown in today? I read you the parlay I put together on the show, and then also our daily upset or
locks
weekly upset and locks of the week. I'll be straight up with it. My lock is the San Francisco 49ers. I don't see any way, shape, or form they don't win and cover that ball game. My upset of the week. God, I'm looking at this board and I just have no idea where to send it. Well, why the hell not? I'll go with the New York Jets, honestly.
Okay,
because
I like it.
F that Packers team, dude.
Yeah, I like it, man. I like it. I'm gonna go with my lock. Gonna go Bucks over the Steelers today. They got a rookie quarterback they're facing. I don't think that's gonna bode well for Pittsburgh. I do have the Bucks there as my lock. My upset, I will go with the Jags over the Colts. Colts are favored 1.5 points. I know that's not much of an upset, but the slate isn't the greatest either. I do have a couple plays here. Plus 179 parlay, San Fran plus 3. I do have Bengals money line. I know you weren't touching that one. Minnesota plus 5. So that comes out to plus 179. I also have I have a little anytime touchdown parlay. I only put like 5 on it. It comes out to plus 730. I have a CMC touchdown. Just picked him up in Dynasty. I want him to score, so that's what I'm putting that in it for. And then I do have a Chase TD in New Orleans. Also, Ramondre Stevenson. I was deciding between him and Chubb. I didn't know which one to go with. I went with Stevenson just because he's on my fantasy team. But we'll see how that goes. I only threw $5 on that.
Right. And with Chubb, he's scoring like every week.
He's scoring every week. I might throw on that.
But you do have Kareem Hunt, so to take away some touches for him.
Both scored last
we'll
week.
See, man. Only plays I have so far for the 1:00 hour. I did lay the Niners by itself, straight up minus 4.5. I have the parlay I put in with the spreads and the 2 money lines. And then I do have that teaser I sent you, which is Browns plus 3, Niners plus 1.5, and the Ravens plus 0.5 point. So basically a pick them at the money line. Plus 160 for that 6-point teaser. So teasers are your friend, man. Teasers help you. Teasers help you in weeks like this where the spreads just seem like a little bit too much, but you like the team to win, but the money line's not worth it. It's good to find. It's good to help you out with positive odds there. But that is going to wrap up this Sunday edition of NFL Turf Talk Live here on DSM Media's YouTube and Facebook channels. Shout out to Twitter for always having a problem. DSM Media, as you guys may or may not know, is proudly brought to you by Gents Barber Lounge. Check out one of 2 great locations in Fishtown and Old City and book your appointment today. Gents owns the craft, and it shows. Rated the #1 barbershop on Yelp in the Philadelphia area, having multiple award-winning barbers and being able to handle any style of cut, adult or kid. Here's a look at some of Gents' great work. Head on over to gentsbarberlounge.com. Again, that is www.gentsbarberlounge.com to book your appointment today. And guys, also check out our friends at shopluxadin.com. Use promo code DSM for 25% off at checkout. Again, that is promo code DSM, all capital letters, at checkout at shopluxadin.com. They also provide free shipping. It gets to you faster than the wait time they tell you, Scotty, as we know firsthand. Great product there. So check our friends out at Gents and Luxadin. For me, you can find me on Twitter at DylanJD98. Check my man out, Scotty, at Scotty Drowned. That is going to do it for this edition of Turf Talk. Have a great Sunday. Enjoy it, and go Birds.
Go Birds.
And one-on-one.